In this lecture, we'll be talking about regular expressions. We'll first talk about how we can use regular expressions to match other strings, and then how we can anchor them at the beginning and end of strings. Then we'll talk about ranges, and then we'll talk about how we can get repetitions. So regular expressions are a way that we can use to make sure that strings match certain patterns. The most appropriate place to use this is when we want to validate that the user's actually entered in a valid email address or a valid phone number or a valid name. So PHP includes a regular expression library that helps us validate these strings. And so in this chapter we'll learn how we can begin to do that, but most of the information you'll need to get from the textbook. I can give you the examples over and over again, but the textbook has them all in there, and just watching them you'll probably forget. So at the end of this lecture, I'll refer you to the textbook to look at some additional things that you can do. The function that we use to test to see if strings match, or to be able to generate these regular expressions, is called preg_match. So we're going to create a PHP code block here to test it out. And usually we'll put them inside of an if statement. So the function is called preg_match. So this right here is regular expression. I don't know what the P stands for, but that's the name of the function in PHP. Maybe it stands for PHP regular expression match. So we're going to see if strings match our regular expression. So the first parameter to this function is the regular expression. We put the regular expression in quote marks. The second parameter here is the string that we want to check to see if it matches. So we'll go ahead and we'll write a regular expression. We'll see if a string matches in PHP. So here we have a string with PHP. So this should match because we have the letters PHP and this right here. Now another thing to note is the regular expression begins with a / and ends with a /. And this is the regular expression in there. So in this parameter, every time we should have a / at the beginning and a / at the end. So we'll go like that. And preg_match returns true or false. So if this string matches the pattern right here, then it will return true, and if it doesn't, it will return false. So we'll just echo out true, or maybe PHP matches put a one break on the end of these lines, and if not, maybe we should just say a big yes here to make it obvious. And this here, and I'll say big no right here. No, it doesn't match. So now we can test this, and now we see yes, it matches. So what if this string had something else, like garbage right there? No, it doesn't match. Now it does say PHP down here, but that's because I just wrote it in here. And maybe I'll just make this more general. Does not match. And yes, it does match. There. So no, it doesn't match. So now we have PHP here. It'll match again. So yes, it does match. And what if we had it capitalized? No, it doesn't match. So this right here is case sensitive. Let me put a little comment there. This one right here is case sensitive. So even though it's the same letters, since these are capital letters, it won't match. But sometimes we want to not worry about case, and if that's the case, then we can put this in here. And if we don't want to worry about the case, we just put a little I after this slash right here. So the regular expression is bound into here, and this is just a little note saying it's case insensitive. There. So now let's see. So no, the first one doesn't match because it's case sensitive, but yes, the second one does. So if we were to keep going on this one, right now this doesn't match, but what if we go put some sort of sentence, wow, PHP is fun. So this string doesn't equal this string right here, but let's see what happens. And now we get a yes, it does match. So a regular expression doesn't check to see if the strings are equal. They just check to see if there's a match. In other words, is there a PHP inside of this string? And that's where we get the power from right there. So not only is this case insensitive, it's just looking for PHP in the string, not necessarily at the beginning of the string or that it's just the string right here. That's the same for this, PHP in the string right there. Now if we want to make sure that PHP is, say, at the beginning of this string, I'll go ahead and put this down right here. I'll copy over this sentence right here. If we want to make sure that it's at the beginning, what we can do is, this is called anchoring the string. So we put a little caret. We get that by pressing Shift 6 on the keyboard, and this little caret anchors it to the beginning of the string. So now we have 1, 2, 3. So now we're checking the third option when we refresh this page, and now we say no, it doesn't match. That's because we've anchored it to the front of the string. So now, if we got rid of the wow, now we get yes, it does match because we have PHP at the beginning of the string. But what if we want to make sure that it's just PHP? Well, that means that we need to anchor it at the end of the string, and we do that with a $. So now we're saying all that we can have in this string is PHP. So that's anchoring it at the beginning and the end, and as you see, it doesn't match again. So to get it to match, it can just be this. And so yes, it does match. So now we learned that this does case insensitive, and then we also learned how to anchor to the beginning and end of the string. Now, one thing is, I didn't show you this, but if we could take PHP out, I could say I am learning PHP. So now we're making sure there's a PHP at the end of the string. And as you can tell, it still matches. But if I put something else at the end of the string, now it doesn't match anymore. So that's anchoring at the beginning and end of strings. I'll put the caret back in, and I'll leave the sentence alone so we can see that it doesn't match, because it has to be anchored at the beginning and the end of the string. Okay, so the next thing we'll talk about is ranges. And we'll copy this over so we start with that. And now we won't worry about anchoring this anymore. We can anchor with ranges. You can combine any of these things that we're talking about together to make more powerful regular expressions. But let's say that we just want a word. Right now we'll just check foo and see if it matches. And again, it's going to be the last one. Yes, foo matches. Let's say instead of just an F here, you can also go boo. Or we also want, maybe might want a moo. Now obviously those don't work, but maybe we want to set the foo, boo, and moo, and we want any one of those three words. So what we can do is just include all the options in here, so we can have a B, F, or M, followed by two O's right there. And so now we'll save this. We could see that moo matches, and boo matches, and foo matches. But what about some other word like co? Now notice cold does not match. Of course, we can put on an L here, make it cool. Right here, if we'll maybe place this with an F, full. Now that does match because we have a capital F followed by two lowercase o's. And since we didn't anchor this anywhere, it goes ahead and finds it and accepts it. So we can, if we wanted to anchor this, we can add in our anchors right here. And now it doesn't match. Now one other question could be, well, maybe I want to make sure foo's in there, but it's not really at the end or the beginning, so we don't want to anchor it at the end or the beginning of a word. So we wouldn't want to anchor it at the beginning or ending of a string, but we do want to make sure it resides on word boundaries. So we can do a /b and a \b. Now notice this is a backslash instead of a /, and that means that it has to fall on word boundaries. So that matches, but if we do full, now that doesn't match because this doesn't end on a word boundary. So the \b can be helpful. I'll just include this in the comments, to \b for word boundary. So we'll take that off and we'll start talking about ranges again. Now, go back to foo. There. And now let's say that we want any capital letter here at the beginning. So if we want any capital letter, we could just go A, B, C, D, E, F, but that's kind of a lot of typing. So we can use ranges here, A through Z. So that's any capital letter. No, foo still matches, and then we can go zoo as well, and that matches. And we won't throw it off. Even this won't throw it off because we're not anchoring the word. We just found it in there. So those are ranges. We can also do numbers as well. So A through Z or 0 through 9. And you can do any range here. So maybe this is the first half of the alphabet, A through M, or something like that. And then you could go 0 through 5. So now we can actually put a number here as long as it's 0 through 5. So 6 won't work. Doesn't match. But we can put 5 here as well. And now it does match. So that there's ranges for us. The next thing we'll try will be repetitions. Copy this over. So maybe now, if you haven't learned by now, at least you'll learn right now. that all legal variable names have to start with some alphabetical character A through Z, and then lowercase a through Z, and then after that they can have any number of characters or letters. Now when I say all variables, I mean anything that we've been doing with $signs. So we can't start a variable with a number. We just have to start it with something alphabetical, so A through Z, capital case or lowercase, but once we have that, then we can include numbers, even special symbols like lowercase and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and try to create a regular expression that expresses that. So it has to start out with something alphabetical, and then we can have as many as we want. Well, first of all, we'll just say as many as we want lowercase letters. So this isn't all variable names, this is lowercase letters. So right now we're just saying some sort of capital case letter or lowercase letter, and then followed by another lowercase letter. So that should match. But we can't do two capital case letters in a row because we need a capital or lowercase, but we can. This can be lowercase and this can be lowercase as well. Okay, so now I'm gonna anchor this because it's kind of hard to test these. If we only want one letter, capital or lowercase, and then one letter following it, it's kind of hard to test it if we don't anchor it, because if three show up, we don't want it to match. So now let's say that we want these to look like a word, an actual word, that it has a capital letter at the beginning and any number of lowercase letters. Now this won't match because there's two letters and we're only allowing for one. What we can do is do a range and say, well, we want 3 lowercase letters. So one capital case letter right here, and then 3 lowercase letters. So there's only 2 here, so this shouldn't work. I'll show you that. But as soon as we make it full, there's 3 lowercase letters. That works. But if there's 4 lowercase letters, that doesn't match. So, so that's our range, so we can use that number. Now let's say that we just want any number of letters instead of just 3. Well, how we can do that is with an asterisk. That's by pressing Shift 8. So now it's one capital case letter and as many lowercase letters as we want. So as long as it's a capital case. So we can try this right here. Of course, that doesn't match because we have spaces in there and we don't allow for spaces in there. So now back to what a variable name should be. Any sort of alphabetical character, and now any sort of lowercase letter, uppercase letter, any sort of number, and then we even have special symbols like an underscore. We'll see how that works. And now we can start out with an alphanumeric character. So that should be a valid variable name, and it does match. So of course this only allows for one special character of an underscore right there. And I believe we can put some other special characters in there, and depending on which programming language, but PHP does allow for more special characters besides just an underscore. Now here's a regular expression that matches the format of something that should be a variable name. Any alphabetical character, and then a capital case, lowercase letter, or a number or underscore, and as many of them as we want. So notice that this star right here says 0 or more of anything that fits in these ranges or happens to be an underscore right there. So there are probably a lot more things that you can do with it. Maybe you're not sure if you I'll do maybe you're not sure if you want something. Maybe if we try to match just a regular telephone number like 555-5555. So what we really want is three characters, 3 numbers followed by 4 numbers. So now we can match like a phone number. And so now a phone number does not match. Right there. Though it should match, I believe. So we're 0 through 9, we want 3 of them. Then a hyphen, we might have to escape the hyphen by putting a backslash in front of it. Let's see if that works. Maybe if we just put a space. Or instead of a hyphen, an underscore. Of course, we need to put an underscore in here. That's maybe because I have the star on that, why all that doesn't work. So let's try that dash again. And so now that matches, but now some people put the dash in there and some people don't. So we don't want to restrict that. So obviously if they put just that in, it won't match, but you could put a question mark following a character, or a question mark also following a range if we wanted to. A range, so any numerical character, which means you can include this or it could not be in there. So this is just the beginning of regular expressions. I'd refer you to the book to look at other examples and to learn more things that you can do with regular expressions. There's lots of more stuff you can do. They're really, really powerful, and the most often place that you'll use this is to make sure that when a user types something into the phone, maybe make sure it looks like a valid phone number or looks like a valid email address. And some hints that if you don't know how to write the regular expression to match everything or what it should be, a quick Google search will hopefully show you a regular expression that you can use that says this will match all valid email addresses, and so you can use those regular expressions to make sure that they match. So again, refer to the book. There's a section in the functions chapter called regular expressions, and there's 4 or 5 pages that go over all the information that you can possibly want on how to create regular expressions to match certain patterns. A couple other things that we'll teach you in the book is how to abstract the matches out, because there's some variability here. Well, what phone number did they enter in, and I want the first 3 digits or something like that, or if I want to, if it's an email address, if I want to see if they wrote a Gmail or a Hotmail or another famous extension, is it one of those email addresses, and how do you abstract the information that you match out. And you can also find and replace, but again, all the examples of that are in the book.